One winter night, the story opens by showing a girl named Melinda who had just arrived at the supermarket where she worked because that day she had a night shift schedule. Before entering the store, she first reprimanded a man who was filling his car with gas. But because he was smoking, Melinda said it was dangerous and could make the gas station explode. Therefore, Melinda offered the man to smoke next to her car, and Melinda would also show something to the man. But with anger, the man refused because his car tank would soon be full. And in the end, rather than serving a stubborn person, even though he had been told it was dangerous, Melinda finally decided to go into the supermarket.
You don't need to yell at me. The whole gas station can light on fire.
I'm not a fucking idiot.
After being inside, she met her coworker named Sheila, who at that time told her that the toilet in the supermarket was still dirty. And before cleaning the toilet, Melinda had met a man who was shopping. With somewhat suspicious behavior, Melinda invited to chat and get to know the man. But unfortunately, the man felt uncomfortable, so he ignored Melinda and immediately left from there. Then while cleaning the toilet, Melinda had time to see photos in her cell phone gallery, where the gallery contained a photo of a policeman who she seemed to really like the handsomeness of the policeman. In short, after finishing cleaning the toilet, Melinda returned to the supermarket to serve customers who had ordered coffee. Before giving it to the customer, Melinda dipped her middle finger into the coffee first for whatever reason. But after observing Melinda's behavior from the beginning, my mind became a little dirty. Meanwhile, outside the supermarket, there was a man watching Melinda and Sheila from inside his car. While they were chatting, they were suddenly approached by an old man named Fred, who had long liked Sheila. Almost every night he came to the supermarket not to shop but just to meet Sheila, and on this night Fred came while bringing shoes to give to Sheila, but Sheila flatly refused the gift from Fred. Melinda, who saw Fred being rejected rudely, felt sorry for Fred, and finally Melinda wore the shoes to reduce Fred's disappointment. Then she tried to approach Fred and tried to calm him down, but what Melinda did not help Fred at all because he looked sad because of the rejection, and after that, Fred left from there. Not long after, the man who had been watching Sheila and Melinda from inside the car approached Melinda, and the man's name was Billy. Upon seeing the handsome man, Melinda immediately greeted him warmly and introduced herself, though Billy didn't tell her his name. Despite this, Billy's response to Melinda was quite positive compared to the people she had previously greeted. Shortly after, the police officer whose photo was saved in Melinda's phone gallery arrived, and the policeman's name was Lou. That night, Lou drove a new patrol car so that Melinda, who saw it, was very impressed. Here, Melinda asked Lou to take her for a ride in his new patrol car. However, Lou refuses because he is still on duty and promises to take Melinda another time.
What about the parking lot? Can we just go around the...
I'm sorry. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Officer Lou.
After convincing Melinda, Lou went into the supermarket to buy a cup of coffee, and there he chatted with Sheila at the cash register and talked about strong medicine. Meanwhile, Melinda, who saw this, felt a little jealous. Then she started taking pictures of them with her cell phone. Sheila, who realized this, was very angry, and because she panicked, Melinda accidentally dropped her cell phone, causing the cell phone to crack. Lou then tried to calm Sheila down, but suddenly he received information from his office that a car theft had occurred by a white man driving a gray sedan southbound and was suspected of carrying a firearm. Then Lou immediately left the supermarket to handle the case. After Lou left, Sheila, who was still upset, asked Melinda's cell phone to immediately delete the photos, and when checking Melinda's cell phone, Sheila found lots of photos of Lou in Melinda's gallery. Here, Sheila then mocked Melinda by saying that Melinda was a strange woman, and she also said that Melinda would not be able to win Lou's love because Lou was a handsome police officer who definitely did not like women like Melinda. Not only that, she also mentioned that Melinda was always rejected by any man, even though she only asked to get to know him. The result of Sheila's words made Melinda very hurt and sad about her fate. After finishing smoking to vent her sadness, Melinda went back inside. But suddenly Billy was in front of her, pointing a gun. It turned out that Billy invited Melinda to work together, where he told Melinda to go back to the cashier with Sheila. Billy subtly wanted to ask for all the money in the cashier to pay his debt to the motorcycle gang. Unfortunately, the money in the cashier was not enough to pay off all his debts. But suddenly Melinda casually said there was still more money in the safe, and she could get it for Billy. Hearing Melinda's words made Sheila only gape because of Melinda's very strange behavior.
Is that thing even real?
Sheila, he has a gun.
I have a gun.
While Melinda was getting her money, a customer suddenly arrived to make a purchase. Billy warned Sheila not to act out of place, and then he began pacing back and forth as if he were shopping too. As the customer was about to pay, Sheila tried to write a request for help so the customer could read it. But strangely, Melinda suddenly appeared and snatched the paper.
Thank you. Melinda, you're an angel.
And now a bag full of money is in Melinda's hands, but when Billy's about to take the bag, Melinda refuses. And she says she will only give the money on the condition that Billy asks her to go with him. Again, Melinda's words make Billy and Sheila confused. How could she want to go with a bad person? But Billy firmly refuses while pointing his gun because he doesn't want anyone else to get involved in his problem. Unfortunately, Melinda still insists on going with him, so Billy takes her bag by force.
Yeah, you're just a little bitch. Because you're not.
You know what your fucking problem is?
Seeing the rudeness made Sheila annoyed, and when Billy was about to leave, she then threw insulting words at Billy, where she said Billy was a sissy who pointed a gun and bullied two women. She also compared Billy with her boyfriend, who was much more manly. Even Sheila said her boyfriend had a bigger manhood than Billy. As a result of those words, Billy felt insulted, and he immediately pulled Sheila's body. Then Billy told Melinda to lock the shop door and confiscated Melinda's cell phone. After that, Billy dragged Sheila to the back room to show that he also had great and strong prowess.
You know what?
Meanwhile, Melinda, who was left alone, became irritated by Sheila's screams from inside the room. Finally, Melinda took a pot of hot coffee. Then she went into the back room and immediately poured the hot coffee directly on Billy's face. Unfortunately, her actions resulted in Sheila being accidentally shot dead by Billy. Then Melinda immediately hit Billy with a fire extinguisher, finally knocking him unconscious. In short, when Billy woke up, he saw Melinda cleaning the dirty floor due to Sheila's blood, who was shot. Billy had also been tied up with duct tape and roped to a chair. Here, Billy explained that he actually wouldn't kill anyone, and he wasn't a murderer. However, due to Melinda's stupid behavior, Billy accidentally killed Sheila. Unfortunately, here Melinda didn't care about Sheila's death, but instead she asked again why Billy didn't want to invite her earlier. Then Billy explained that he didn't want to hurt anyone and didn't want other people involved in his problems with the motorcycle gang. Billy was also forced to do this just to pay his debt, and if he invited Melinda, the motorcycle gang might do bad things to Melinda, of course, just to get revenge on Billy. Their conversation continued until Melinda finally felt comfortable, and afterward Billy asked Melinda to help him get some medicine to relieve the pain on his face. Melinda, who was already comfortable, immediately got the medicine, and when she was about to get the medicine, she saw a customer from outside who wanted to come in, but Melinda ignored the customer. After getting the medicine, Melinda gave the medicine to Billy, which turned out to be not a pain reliever, but a male stimulant. And suddenly Billy's heart was beating fast and his desire was starting to come out. Billy begged Melinda not to molest him, but Melinda, who couldn't stand it anymore and had been wanting to experience the activity, ignored his words. Then Melinda began to cover Billy's eyes using duct tape, and after that, Melinda began to undo his pants and slowly did the activity. However, after a few seconds, Billy went berserk, which made the activity stop. With his eyes closed, Billy tried to attack Melinda, but unfortunately, he ended up crashing into the cupboard, which made him faint again. After that, Melinda returned to the store carrying a bag containing Billy's money and gun. She opened the store door again because there was a customer who wanted to shop. While inside, the customer asked where the hot coffee usually was, and Melinda replied that the coffee for that night was sold out and suggested buying an energy drink instead. Due to her difficulty in finding a man, Melinda intended to kill herself by shooting herself in the head. However, Melinda was unable to do so and ended up crying hysterically. When the customer was about to pay, he was confused by Melinda's behavior, and Melinda told him to take the drink and not pay for it. However, the customer was very kind and paid for the drink before leaving. Not long after Sheila's boyfriend Perry arrived at the store to look for Sheila, because he had called her several times but she hadn't answered. Perry asked Melinda where Sheila was, and Melinda replied that she didn't know. Perry then tried calling Sheila's cell phone number again, and heard Sheila's phone ringing under one of the store shelves. After finding Sheila's cell phone, Perry asked Melinda again where Sheila was, and again Melinda lied, saying that Sheila had just left with a man and that they seemed to be going to a hotel. Hearing this answer made Perry very disappointed. He then said he would look for Sheila and asked Melinda to let him know when Sheila returned to the store.
Some guy had like a jean jacket.
After that, Melinda went to the back of the store to find a safe place to bury Sheila's body, But when she was about to take the digging tools, suddenly a group of motorcycle gangs arrived at the place. They came to look for a person named Billy who had a problem with them, but Melinda said she had never seen the person they were looking for. Then she ordered the motorcycle gang to leave immediately, but they insisted on entering the store, which made Melinda very angry, and she immediately pointed her gun at them. A standoff ensued, but the wise gang leader ordered his members to lower their weapons because the store had CCTV cameras that could record them causing trouble. With no other choice, they left. But before leaving, the gang leader said in a threatening tone that if they didn't find what they were looking for, they would come back. Melinda, who had just realized that she had been under CCTV surveillance, immediately went inside to delete the CCTV footage. But unfortunately, the CCTV storage was locked in a drawer. Melinda then tried to open it by hitting it with the shovel she was holding, but it wouldn't budge. Then Melinda went outside the shop to smoke for a while, and here Melinda thought about burning the shop to destroy the evidence. Then she started to take some jerry cans and fill them with gasoline from the gas station. But when he was about to pour the fuel, Lou suddenly came, which stopped Melinda's plan. Lou came back because he saw the stolen car he was looking for in front of the shop, and yes, it turned out that the perpetrator of the stolen car was Billy. But Melinda lied and said she didn't know who brought the car to the shop. And in the end, to find out who the person was, Lou then planned to check the CCTV footage. But Melinda said that the only person who could check it was the shop manager because the shop manager had access to view the CCTV. So Lou immediately asked for the store manager's contact number so he could call him, and since she had no other choice, Melinda gave him her number. However, when he called, it was already late at night, and the store manager refused to talk any further because he was asleep at the time. Because he didn't get the answer he was hoping for, Lou tried to check the back room of the shop, and it was clear that Melinda was starting to panic because in the back room, there was still Billy being held captive, and Sheila's body still in a plastic bag. While Lou was checking room by room, Melinda was getting ready to point her gun at him. Luckily, Lou didn't find anything suspicious and eventually left the store to continue his search elsewhere. Melinda was confused because Lou should have found Billy in that room, and feeling that something was wrong, she immediately checked on him and found that Billy had broken free from his restraints. Without thinking twice, Melinda continued her plan to burn the shop, and she began pouring fuel on all the items in the shop. After finishing, Melinda intended to leave with the bag containing the money, but suddenly she heard a sound from behind. Because of panic, Melinda accidentally dropped her gun so that it was splashed with gasoline. As a result, her gun could not be used, and suddenly the electricity in the shop went out completely. Melinda, who was scared, then tried to escape. Unfortunately, the shop door was locked and could only be opened when the electricity was on. Then Billy's angry voice was heard calling Melinda's name, demanding that she hand over the bag. But Melinda refused and threatened to burn down the store, which she had already doused with gasoline. Not long after, Perry came back, which distracted Melinda, and knowing this, Billy took advantage of the moment to exit through the back door and block the door using a trash can so that Melinda couldn't get out of the shop. Afterward, Billy told Perry about everything that had happened, stating that Sheila hadn't left with another man, but rather that she was dead because of Melinda's actions. Upon hearing this, Perry, enraged, began cursing Melinda, and Billy immediately strangled Perry from behind, leading to a fight. In the end, the fight was won by Billy until Perry was killed.
Stop!
Feeling cornered, Melinda tried to contact Lou, but suddenly Billy crashed into the shop door using Perry's car. Then he started to go inside and took the bag containing the money. While Melinda, who was increasingly frightened, she told Billy to leave immediately because Billy had got what he wanted. But Billy was very angry with Melinda because of her actions that made Billy become a murderer. Plus, Melinda had given him a strong drug and tried to harass him, making Billy want to kill Melinda. When Billy pulled the trigger of his gun, fire came from his weapon so that it caused the shop to catch fire. In the end, Billy was burned to death, while Melinda managed to escape safely, although both of her legs were burned. Lou returned shortly after and saw Melinda, who had survived the store fire. He assumed the fire was purely a work accident and nothing had happened before, so he assumed Melinda was simply a fire victim who had survived.